Hello, hello. I have to check if everything's working correctly first. I think it is. So, welcome back. Almost done with the project. After how many episodes? Probably about 15 or something. Let me check, because I don't remember any of the stuff that I do, so I have to keep them written somewhere. So, okay. DTO, they don't have a setters because they don't want to change them. The mapping method is void, debatable. You set the mapping inside the constructor. Okay. That's the work that I should be doing for the DTO from last time. Probably should write it in a better way because I still don't understand my writing if I'm one day away from it. So anyways, welcome back. So today we'll be doing the project. I think we should be doing the delete, and we were doing the update, but that's about it. We got viewing the task by ID, that's the one we are using right now. And yes, that's it for the project, but we will also do some Angular afterwards. Angular seems to be the one causing the issue because I am not a front-end developer and I barely know anything about design, but if you want to make a complete website, you probably should do it either way. So back to the DTO here. The task, the mapping will be set inside the constructor itself, and we don't have a setters, only getters here. So we have the controller here. There seems to be an issue somewhere. Missing a return statement. Okay, yeah, we were doing the update task, and that's when my brain stopped last time. So let's check the controller first. Okay, no, this is the controller. Then what's the serverless implementation for it? Okay, now I'm starting to remember. So we had an issue with the if else and the try and catch things. So as I remember, we said that we will do the if else in this. If the ID is present, we DTO the task and then return it. If else, we say the task is not found. Okay, now to get back to the controller should have the try and catch. And also the catch here. And now thinking about it, I haven't done it for the other parts yet. Through new, I think it was called task, not even task. We still need to do it in the response way. I have task DTO, and then we update the task ID and new task, and we want to return the task DTO, so we say response return response entity.ok, and we return the task DTO. So basically, yeah, just the same thing. Task not found exception. So it is the same as this one. Yeah, I think that's it. So that's the update task method that we have. We update by getting the ID and the body of the new task. Then let's go to the service implementation here. Let's get here the update task. we find it by ID, and if it's present, yeah, we forgot the save. I always seem to forget that we need to save it for it to be actually edited. We return the new task as a DTO, but we should be doing task repository dot save the new task. That's a mistake I did in the previous project. Now that it's saved, let's take a look at the repository. Other than find by ID, we don't really need anything. Okay, so far so good. Now let's run. We don't seem to have unused import statement. Where? Okay, it's the Java util here. And our app seems to be running just fine. This error means that the find by ID was wrong. Let's see. To display the condition report, debug error creating statement with task controller, define to-do list, I get this error a lot, so I know it has something to do with the task repository, because I'm still not accustomed to using the GPA extension here. Control Z. We just want to copy this one, and I want to ask ChatGPT about it. I will be studying more about this in my own, since I do have an exam coming up related to GPAs. Is this method in GPA, Java GPA, correct? No, methods execution provide incorrect GPA. Here's what's wrong. GPA repository method names should follow Spring data naming convention, typically find by ID instead of find by. So okay, first thing, it should be named find by ID, and we should also rename it from here. Method names in Java should follow camel case, find, and then by. Okay, I also don't think I did that. Yes, this one should be by. Let's go to the repository and make this one also capital Y. Missing entity property reference should reference the entity field. If the field name is ID, it should be defined. Okay, we did that part. And if it's not, so optional task find by and then long ID. Okay, now it should be working. Please work. Yeah, I think now it's working. Also, I never use the website for some reason, even though we can, because there is no tasks there, so it will always give that. Anyway, first of all, I need to log into the database first. Connect to the test that we created, and then we say we want to select all the tasks from there. Select all from task, and everything now is empty. Now we go here and we try everything. We have the first. So by the way, since if everyone is watching this and is new, we are creating a to-do list or something similar at least. So we have the tag, and then we have the title, and then we have some description for it. So for the title here, we say Spring Boot. Yeah, and if it give us the OK and the same object back, so it is working. How about we send another task? also working. How about we get both tasks at the same time? Seems to be working. Now we need to create a new one, and this one will be a put task. Task.api, and we say the ID is probably 1. And we see the headers, body. No, we want it actually in JSON format, but I cannot see it for some reason. I probably need to check how to do a post request after this one. But I need to check on a couple of things first. Task controller here, it's task ID. And it is to update the tasks, so yes, we need the ID and the body. So as for the body, we say raw and we say JSON. And the JSON format is very simple, everything in quotation. But I think I have to do it in the same order as the task here, but I'm not sure. That's something I'll have to check. We have tag, title, description. Tag. Okay, let's check the tag that we have in the first one that we want to change. So we have the first ID here, Spring Boot. Its tag is still study. So we will say also study. Sorry, we have to write tag first. Then not semicolon but double, and we have to add another one, and then we say tag study. And the next one should be the title. Yes, the title is the one that we will be changing. I just say we don't want to study Spring Boot anymore. I think the first one is Spring Boot, yes. Let's say we want to study what, networking. And then we say that the theme or description, we say that okay, we forgot the semicolon first. Let's say the description study networking for exams, something like that. And that's a put request, similar to the one that we did here was the controller. Put mapping, yes. So Raspberry is still working. Study, and then networking, and then study for the exam. Then let's check if it actually changed in the database. Nope, it didn't change, but actually saved it as a new entity. Interesting. So it's a logical problem. The logic that we wrote at the service implementation here is wrong. So because we saved the new task immediately, it saved it as with a new ID. But that's not actually what we want to do. The return here will stay the same if the case is true. But this is the new task. Okay, I think I got it. So we make a new task object and we call it old task equals to new task. And as for the parameters, you can actually spread this one like this. So we have the new task here. Let's set, we say not set, since we are already making the object. So we say the new task dot get tag, comma, new task dot get title, and then new task dot get description. And now we created a new task with the same things. But wait, these are the new these are the old values, so no, that will not work also, since we are setting this task with the new ones. It doesn't change the already existing task, it's creating a new one. Okay, so this is actually not work. So how about we set this one to task repository dot find by ID. Let me say ID here. We have to get rid of the optional, and I forgot how to do it. Okay, let's ask ChatGPT about this part, because I think I did it once. Or actually, we can open the old project. Yeah, the CRUD app. New window, and I think we were able to do that last time, but for some reason I forgot it. Yeah, we used the .get method. Now I remember. We say .get, and that's how we get rid of the optional part, since the optional is just there as a safety for us if we mess up something up. So now that we have the ID, it's time to set everything. We say the alt task dot set title to new task dot get okay, get title, and we say again the same thing, alt task dot set description. I think the order here doesn't matter. New task dot get description. How many variables did we have again? We had the description, the tag, of course. Alt task dot set tag, where's the tag? Get tag, and then new task dot get tag. Okay, and here it's actually set. And that I'm not sure if we should save it or we just keep it, because I think if we save it we will just have it as a new entity, and instead of returning the new task we should be returning the old task. Okay, now let's try to rerun it again. Okay, everything seems to be working. We do the first request, the second request, and then we get all of them. Everything seems to be working. Now we want to change this ID. It seems to be working, but actually let's check the logic here. Surprisingly, it's only 2. Okay, so we do have to save it. So I'm not sure if saving will actually make it as a new object or not. We need to check that part. Task repository dot save, and we say all task. Unless it checks if the ID is the same, so it will override it automatically. Actually, That's a new info that I haven't thought about. In Java, JPA does the save method creates a new entity each time, and if there is a match in ID, does it override creates a new record in the database, a new entity is inserted. So it does create a new entity if an ID with the same ID already exists. The save method updates the existing entity. Okay, so it does override it because the GPA checks if the entity is already managed. So it will make a new entity, and if the same ID exists, it will just override it. Yeah, I thought so. That's the only way it would make sense. But okay. Let's get rid of this one. Now since everything is working, let's check again here. So let's get on new task. Actually, let's change the name of this one. Update first task. So let's check for the database again. So that's the old one. Now let's send. So yes, it did change it. But the change is a bit weird actually. So we had the first one, Spring Boot, and then the second one. We wanted to change the first one, which is Spring Boot, which yeah, we did manage to change it to networking, and it was changed to number one instead of Angular. Okay, the order is a bit off since they put 2 then 1 first, but the actual numbers, this is the same, so that's okay for them. So that's the update request. So here is the list of the stuff. Editing the task, we already did that. Creating a task. Now we want to delete it. There is a lot of stuff I also need to do. Mapping method is debatable. All of that stuff I'll keep it here. Also, I don't need that one, since if I already forgot it, I will probably need to practice it more. I also need to know. It's 11, yeah, so it should be around here. Anyway, so now we finished. Let's take a look at the controller. We finished creating the task. Then we finished getting all the task, and then we finished updating the task. Now for the delete one, and then we will have to do some enhancement after, because this should be written inside the service implementation here. I should probably also study a bit more about design patterns, because it seems like everyone is doing it. And this thing, I don't like the look of it. It's too repetitive. There should be another way to actually do it, which I wouldn't dive that deep into right now. We'll probably do it later after we finish. Oh, now for the delete one, which is actually not that hard. We will put at delete mapping, and we would obviously have a URL for that one. which is the ID. We say tasks, and then ID, and then we say public response entity. Actually, there should be a response. Okay, let's make the response entity as the task that we deleted. So if it gives us the task, we know that the task is deleted, but I'm not sure if that's a good thing, but we'll see. Delete task, and then we want to get the ID, so at variable, and it's from type long ID, and we have to also do the try catch before I forget. And it's not runtime exception, but rather, yeah, we forgot, we need also to test our exceptions. Okay, stuff that we need to do later: code improvement with try and catch. Finish all this. Code improvement with the try and catch. What else? Check and test error handling. Yeah, if we finish the deleting one, we'll be finishing the basic functionalities of our website. So what I will be needing to do is read study about testing and documentation. And only after we finish these three things, we will be adding more functionalities that we have here. Mark task as completed, undo task completion, that type of thing. We have the task viewing by category and such functionalities. Adding functionalities is relatively easy compared to actually creating it from scratch, because that's the fun part, where you'll have to focus more about the logic, not about if the setup is working or not. But we will see, and maybe I can do that one today, since the delete shouldn't be taking long, but we will see. We will not throw runtime, but rather task not found exception, and the message will be the deleted task doesn't exist. And as for the try part, what do we say? Response entities dot okay, and we will be deleting the. Should I give the task back if I want to delete it? I mean, it's more code, but okay, sure. Task service implementation dot create task, get all task, update task. We should make another method. We call it delete task, and we give it ID. I'm pretty sure they should supposed to control out of this. Yeah, just control. Create a method delete task and the service implementation, and we also need to create it in the task service here. Get all task, create task, update task, make task DTO, we say delete task, and it takes long ID. Is it void? No, we want to get for it to return the task DD also. Wait, why? Okay, forgot the here, yes. Thought I was bugging, but no. So, what do we return here? So we make a new task. Is there a delete functionality in the JPA? I think there is. Task service, the repository. Where is the GPA? Yep. Is there a delete method in the JPA, and so how is it done? Instead of actually trying and seeing if it works or not, we say delete by ID. Okay. There is delete all, there is delete by name, there is delete by ID, but it is void. Okay. So we'll probably have to make the service, the controller also void, and if that's the case. And then we have to put a service here, and we have to say void. Service implementation here, also void. Probably easier that way, but the task repository, we make a new one, and we say void delete by ID, and we give it long ID. Then the service implementation, that's what we will do. Repository, okay, sorry, task repository dot delete by ID, and we give the ID, and that's it. Nothing more, nothing less. Should probably write some stuff here for the deleting task. As for the service implementation, the delete one is the easiest one. Deleting task. Yeah, I think that's about it. We need to restart. Yeah, another thing that I probably should be doing, which is probably a bit too deep, is reading the error messages, not the error messages, the message. I'm not sure what they are called, so I'll call them like this for now. Okay, and that's the delete function. Now let's do the first post request. The second one, forget about the get and update. Let's do the delete. Add a new request. Just put it here. We rename it and we say delete. We also rename it to the delete first request. That's a delete request. There shouldn't exist any body. I think so, yeah. It's just a delete. Okay, it does say an error 405, so it's not a service issue, it's a connection issue. We should probably involve a body, but we shouldn't though. So if you want to delete a function, you just provide the ID with it and it should be enough. But in this case it doesn't. Method not allowed. Pretty sure we have the mapping correct. So yes, we have delete mapping and by ID, and it's tasks ID. We have the tasks and we have the ID, which is 1. And let's check if they exist. Yes, the ID does exist. Huh. I have no idea, but since it's a 405 method, use of the request method is not allowed on the source. So it's an issue from my side on the testing part here. How would delete request to the server look like? Delete endpoint, create a first an API, we know that stuff. Delete, you say the task, and then you say 1. Let's check the delete mapping here. They are returning a string, sure. I'm getting 405 error message. Not allowed in Spring Boot usually means that the HTTP method is not allowed for the request endpoint, which is weird. Because I do have my delete mapping with the ID. Okay. I should add curly braces with the ID, not just the ID itself. Okay. Now let's try our trick again. It's in the first one, it's in the second one. Now we want to delete the first one, but before that, yes, the 2 tasks exist. Now to send our delete request. Now request resource could not be found. But wait, it did delete the task though. That's very weird. Actually, before we ask ChatGPT about it, I want to check a couple of stuff. So the actual method did get executed, but the response had an issue. Not sure if we should be having this as void. Return response new response entity, and we say what we will have a text here. Okay, no, that's not the text. We have the status here. Response entity dot okay. I seem to always forget. Okay, the status is in the second one. I was saying, but it showed me that no, the status is first. Anyway, so we'll have the message first here. Task deleted successfully, and then you will, okay, that's a mistake from my side, and you'll say here HTTP, I think it's an HTTP status, dot okay. Third try is not sure. Let's try again. First task, second task. They do exist in the database. Now let's delete the first task. So void in the controller is really not a good idea. It will still give you error messages for some reason, because it does expect a response. So minimally, even if there is no response, you should provide a string at least. Okay, I get this part now. It took a bit longer than expected actually. Hey, but now we have the update functionality and we have the get all. But we don't have a get for a single one. Interesting. How did I forget about that part? We made a get all, but not a get for a single one. Get request for a single task. Okay, I did write it here. Finish the update method. Separation of console, we will leave it for now. We will do it here. So let me actually revise the main objectives of the project because it has been a long time. The user part, we said we will add it later. We did all the CRUD applications so far. We have a task viewing for all of them. Organization part by the tag, we still don't have it, and I don't think you will be able to test it that much. Organization, categorization and tags, that's part of that one. User authentication. Am I ready for the authentication part? Not sure. So this is the delete function.
Okay, so in this video we are going to be finishing out our API endpoint in the only actual.
So if we say that I am the novice one and this guy is the expert, I will have to compare how we did the delete request. But there seems to be the relationship. Query methods, detail view, update view, delete view, review. Okay. Okay, so it was void. And interesting because the thing is, one of the main issues I had with when starting at the beginning is, where do you start? You have three parts in the project that you need to start with. You have the controller, which is the main gateway to the backend. Then you have the service, which is the main logic, and then you have the backend. I see some people do it from the controller to the backend, then see some people do it from the service first, and then some people do it from the backend first. I'm still not sure which workflow I will actually go with because I keep on juggling between both of them.
That looks good. Then we're going to go into here, and now we need to actually implement this method because we added it to our interface. And that looks good.
I think I'll be doing it by the logic first, since that's the first thing that comes to my mind, if that makes sense. It's easier that way.
A couple times before, so we go into here, we're going to go find by ID, we're going to pass in the actual ID, and we're going to have an or else crypto right here, and we're going to say this does not find a Pokemon with
Okay, okay. That's part of the error handling problem that I was talking about. So this is also one of the tasks that I think I should be doing. I want to get this one up first. Code improvement, compare your code to YouTube to see which one. Actually, give me a second. So the first thing is get the single request, and we'll do the improvement. Yes, code improvement with try and catch, because that's I want to put my mind through the code first and then compare it later. And then we will check for error handling and tests. And then I'll compare it to the YouTube, and then I'll do the test and documentation. I think it sounds like a solid plan. We will have enough time to do what I want first, which is about 3 things, then compare it to whatever this guy is doing here, because he's doing it with 2 classes, one for the Pokemon and one for the reviewing. And we have something similar here with where is it? We have the tag, title, and description, so I think we have a bit more, and some custom functionalities. The custom functionalities, I will deal with it after I finish all of this. Now for the actual hard part, the front end, which I still completely suck at. Yes, we want to exit that one. I don't like having too much going on at the same time. Good thing we did all the tasks. Not that one. I think that's it. Where did we leave last time with Angular? We took the data binding, yes. Passing the data from parent to a child. Okay, this is where we left off last time. Data binding, parent-child passing. I will rewatch it again because I completely forget how we did it last time. But we actually did it. So let me refresh the app here. Okay, I have to run. npm start. While it's loading, we will revise what we did here with the passing of information from the parent to the child first. And then yeah, we have a lot. But now that I'm already finishing the backend for our app, I was planning on doing it like a simple to-do app, but then I changed my mind because how can I say it? I plan on doing it something like a mind map, not necessarily task, which will basically be the same thing. But I want to do it the same way as I saw people do it with Linux. So you will have an empty page. Actually, that's too thin. Let's pick the brush. You will have an empty page, and then you can right click somewhere and you can create a task. And then if you right click again, you'll create another task, and if they are in the close proximity, they will connect with each other. And then you'll keep on creating different mind maps that way. I prefer that style of to-do list. And there will be a view button here if you want to view it that way, or if you want to view it that way, like a task here and then the subtasks for it. But that work is all front end.
to do is to implement more components inside the home component. So we are going to have a
Ah,
father component, and we are also going to have a greeter component. We are going to start with greeter because I want to show you another thing about data binding.
okay. One thing I should try before actually going with this. So we have the greeting component. That's part of the home page. And what we want is to have this message here be passed to the greeting component. But the home and the greetings are imports to each other. Okay, the home component has the import as greeting, what the greeting component doesn't have. I actually need my pen for that one. Shouldn't have deleted the last one that I did. But so we have here the home, and we have here the greeting. So for the greeting to appear in the home, you should add it in the import. But you shouldn't add it here because there is nothing under it. Okay, makes sense, makes sense. So that's why we have the import here. Now, after the import, what also do we have? We have a variable here with this message parent. In the home component, let's check the HTML one. It says homeworks and then app greeting message. The message is the one that was here in the greeting. So because you had an input, which is also a signal, it can be imported to the tag, and the tag is, by the way, the name here. Once you create a class and you want to make a tag out of it, you will make it through the selector. Right, the home message is the message of the component, the home component. Sounds very confusing, so I'll probably have to repeat the video multiple times till I get it.
Greeting component just like this. I'm going to copy this. I'm going to go to my code, go to my terminal, and here we
Okay, there's a skip.
components here. You can see we have app root.
So here we have this app root, which is the father, then the two children, and then we have the grand one here.
Below we have app header component.
And the way you make it is easy actually. You just do the import. So if we remove the import from here and we remove this one, actually let's comment it because I don't want to write it again. Do we have an error somewhere else? I don't think so. How about we save everything manually before it starts to crash? Now let's go to the website. Yeah. So this is the stuff we did from before. Now to the inspect. We have home, header, and outlet. So the greeting is completely gone, and the way that you can make it come back here is through adding the import here. And if you add the import, we refresh this one here. Okay, I think I have to manually save every time. Yeah, the app greeting will appear under.
And then we have the home, and inside the home we have the we have the app component having home inside with a message that its property in the greeting component has to have a message that it can pass to greeting.
So the message that he's referring to is here. So the home component has a message from type signal, and we call it home message, and we want to pass that home message to the greeting. So the greeting will have an input, not a signal, and we have here this as default greeting and this one as the parent message. And we want to make sure that in this one we get the parent message, not the greeting one. And the way you do that is by going to the home. Okay, we did have it here. And you add the component greeting, and you say the message here equals to the home message, which is that about it here. I think he made it more complicated for no reason, but so okay, that's the parent one, that's the data binding, which is easy. So yes, that's the first main two big topics, and the rest of the 35 minutes was actually just setting everything up.
Cool. Now we have this data binding concept here from parent to child. Forward, we're gonna talk about something called event listeners in Angular and how they work. You can bind.
I think I have heard event handlers before in Java, but with the Java FX. So basically anything that happens on the screen is an event, and you make a method that's an event handler that will take that event and respond to it. So for example, clicking something and then something is appearing.
Event listeners directly in the template using this syntax.
What do we have here? An input tag from type text, key up handler, and then we have a component that will log user types something in the input. Okay.
Which is you use the small bracket and then you can use the default browser events like key up, key down, key press, click, double click, and whatnot. When you apply this directly to a particular HTML element, you can pass a handler from your TypeScript file and it calls it. Let's try this out. So I'm going to copy this input and I'm going to actually go and create something inside the home component. So just after greeting, I'm just going to pass this. Now I'm going to copy the key of the home component.
But he made it in the home component.
So just after greeting,
The key up handler, I think that method will be written inside the home component. But it should be written actually in the greeting if we are talking about. It depends what the objective is.
handler from here, and then I'm going to go to the TypeScript file to create this.
Okay, he did it in the same one, in the home component.
Just like this. Now let's save this. Let's save the HTML. And now if I go to my application and start typing something, I'm also going to open console here. Now if I type, for example, SN, you can see that we get this log, user type something, user type something, user type something, 5 times.
Oof.
The number of times I pressed it right here. Now if I press backspace, you see more logs, and even if I press shift, you can see that here
It counts every single keyboard type that you did, yes.
you see all the logs. So it doesn't matter what key I'm pressing, directly it shows you the logs. This is one way of doing things. In this particular way, we are saying that whenever there's a key up, just call my function. I don't really care what key was pressed. But what if I really wanted to see which key was pressed? In that particular case,
You will need a method that logs in the key and then saves it.
you can use the event and pass it to your TypeScript function. So you do it something like this. Your function should be able to accept a parameter like this, and then from your
So we have the event as type event, and then no, he actually called it event, and it's from type keyboard event. That's new. Okay.
template, you pass this $event. $event is the actual browser event that is passed to the Angular function that you have in your TypeScript. So I'm going to do that now. So first I'm going to go to my home component TS, and here I'm going to say there's going to be event here, and this is going to be off.
Now that we are on that part, I really didn't want to do that, but Angular documentation. So we did take some about the signals and the components, elements, HTTP client, testing, installation, developer tools, best practices. Okay. We start with the signal. What are signals? Signals are a wrapper around a value that notifies interested consumer when that value changes. Signal can contain any value from primitive to complex data structures, so anything can go in. Yes, you read a signal value by calling its getter function. It allows Angular to track where the signal is used. Signal may be either writable or read-only. So we have count and we did the signal here. Okay. Computed signal. So we have the count again, writable signal number, and then you have signal 0. Actually, that's why I don't like reading documentation. I feel the skip and a lot of stuff is too much. And we just scratched the surface by what we studied in the video about signals. Now let me change this thing here.
Now let's talk about what
Angular. I study more by building something, so I want to see if someone built something with Angular, and that's how I'll probably understand it better.
Did you know that you can now remove unused imports from your Angular projects with our cleanup unused import schematic from the command line in your project?
Okay, and that's just steps. How about Angular projects? Okay, there is a list here. I want a small component first. For some reason, project build approach is the best one, but everyone seems to be just explaining, not actually building something that can actually be used. The stuff they are explaining are a bit too abstract. So, e-commerce app.
Hello, welcome to my modern Angular 19 crash course. Angular has been changing quite a lot recently.
Yes, that's why it's all courses are obsolete. I mean, they completely changed it now. You can only use it with TypeScript, which I think is the superior way. But yes, TypeScript wasn't that hard if you are already familiar with strong typing. I mean, Java has a really strong typing, so
This course is meant to collect all of those modern Angular 19 features and showcase to you how to build an Angular app in a modern way. In the process of this course, we are going to create a simple e-commerce application. As you can see here, it is a 2-page e-commerce application where you can go to the cart and you can go to the products list.
sounds good enough.
Take you through this diagram here, which I built for you guys specially, and you can see that you're going to learn a lot of things. So this product list has been displayed by using the new for control flow, which is also a new feature. Then we have string interpolation for dynamic data, which is one of the basic features of Angular. And then we have creation of a reusable button component, which we actually use throughout the application here. And then we have these stock indicators, which actually show you how to use the if control flow and the conditional styling. So you can see here that this product is out of stock, so we need to show it in a red color to make it easier for the user. And then we have simple routing, so we can go to the card here.
I did do a bit with React, and the fact that you have to have another framework because React is a library which is Next.js, so that you can do the routing. It seemed like a cool idea when I started, but now seeing it all at the same app, I was like, okay. I see why people say Angular is for big projects while React is for small ones.
And you can also add to cart, so that it's going to update the number of items in the cart. This we are doing through use of a global service, so we are also going to cover services and
I'm not familiar with global service now.
basic level, so that we can manage our state in an Angular application. And then we're going to cover some basic create and delete operations. So we are creating a cart item here, and when we go in our cart here, we can see that we are displayed our cart items here, and then we can remove any item if you like to, and it's going to update the number and everything will remain track. So lastly, we're also going to cover the computants, which are a new feature using Signals API. So if you
Actually, how do you combine the front end and the back end of the same project. I need to check that. If I am building a Java project, Java backend project on port 8080 on Spring Boot, and my front end project on VS Code on port, which port was that? 4200. Using Angular and what was it? I completely forgot Angular, and I think it was, yeah, it's called npm. How do I merge the two to test if both, my typing is out of balance today, if both functionalities work at the same time? Run both applications separately. I think I'm already using that. Before integrating, ensure both apps run independently. Handle calls, and since your Angular is running on HTTP and your backend is on, you need to follow a cross-origin resource sharing. Enable cross-global recommended. Modify your Spring Boot cross-config to allow requests from Fortran. Okay, so I can configure it so that I can allow it. Enable cores for specific controllers. So for the request here, for example, I say allowed connect Angular to the front end to the Spring Boot backend. Use HTTP client in Angular to call Spring Boot API. It seems like minor works, but just with a lot of steps. So how does people actually do it? Because the thing about ChatGPT, it gives you the answer, but most of the time it's not the best practice answer. How to run Angular with Spring Boot.
Hey there everyone, Ramesh here. Welcome to
That's
Angular
3 years, so
Food.
I need something new. 4 years. Okay, this guide will be probably good.
Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to Amigos Code. In this course, you will learn about Spring Boot and Angular full stack web.
Yeah, since I am already going to complete Angular, I need at least to see how it's connected to Spring Boot first.
For this course, Junior will be your instructor, so we decided to collaborate, and I feel like the way Junior teaches is kind of similar to the way I teach, so that's why I decided to have him on the channel. In this course, you will learn full stack web development by building the backend with Spring Boot, and then the front end with Angular, and connect everything together. Junior has a YouTube channel called Get Raised. Go ahead and subscribe to his channel. Give me a thumbs up, Junior, and I'll catch you later.
Welcome to the first backend application, first Android application, and then you have this edit form where I can insert a new
Very interesting project.
So I entered this new guy. Here is the URL. Here we have validation. As you can see now, we have John Hutchins in here, and of course course, to the far right, we can switch. So if I go in there and I'm typing
Ooh,
Rick,
that's a
you
loaded
can
project
see
actually.
everyone that has Rick and their name is there. And if I put a K here, not only Rick Robinson is on this list. So another thing you can do here is you can edit employees' information. So let's say Carl got married.
It's basically what we are doing right now.
She changed her last name and we want to update her last name. So I can click on this edit icon here, which is a button, and then I can go here. Let's say the last name is now, I don't know, Smith, and we can just save. Now you can see the last name is Smith. And of course we can delete an employee. So let's say we want to remove someone from the list. We can just click on this X right here. Once we click on this, it's going to give us this dot.
It's more or less why what we are trying to do actually.
Like a safe way to make sure you're deleting the user. If you are making a mistake, you can just click no, or you can just close this window. Otherwise, you can proceed and then you click yes. As you can see now, Ocean is gone. And this is a very simple application. I just made it up just so I can use it as an example for what we're going to be building. This could be anything. It could be users. It could be students.
Tasks, the one we are using. Yes, okay, so that's my point. I don't need to make the user authentication right now. That will probably be the last thing I ever do. And if someone doesn't know the user authentication, basically having user login and logout and that stuff, because that part is too complicated. I think even he has it here. Where's the playlist? So you have the user authentication. Even though it's 10 videos, my brain just cannot comprehend it for some reason. And then we have unit testing here. I'll probably do unit testing and this even before touching the authentication process. And that's it, I think so, yeah. And then we will start to build on what we did. Actually, let's get rid of this and continue here.
We can add way more.
Need to save this one also.
But that's just a simple example, and that example is good enough for you to have a very good understanding, of how you can create an API with Spring Boot and use any front-end application, for that matter, to actually communicate with the backend. So grab your coffee or tea or whatever else you're drinking. We have a lot to cover, and I'll see you in the next lecture.
I actually do want to create my to make my coffee, but I said create because I have been coding a lot.
Kick off this course, I just want to tell you that if you're going to gain the most out of this course, make sure to practice, because Junior, it has tons of experience building backend applications as well as front-end applications, and it's actually a full-stack developer. It has lots to teach you, and the way that you're going to gain the most out of this course is to practice as Junior teaches. That's the best way, really. So we want to add value by giving you really awesome content, but also
Yeah, that's the thing about seeing a tutorial about programming. You can fall in the tutorial hell where you don't actually practice anything. It's actually a good project, but I want to finish at least mine right now with Angular first. What should we do? I'm thinking. First, I think I need to be better at Angular at least a bit before I jump to something like that. So I will probably do this after I finish my project first. Hi. How's it going? Yeah, I've been there for quite a bit actually. Getting less scared, or? Yeah, I hope it always stays good. But I think it's night time your time now, right? Wait, this guy has, I think, 34 videos. I didn't see that part before. I think he just divided the original video. I'm not sure now. Anyway.
3 items here, and
We go back to the more practical course.
calculate the total. Computed is a very nice way to keep a reactive data which derives from all of these
Mm-hmm.
So this is the concept of signal in Angular. All right. So who is this course for? Well, I have designed it basically for beginners who are coming from some other framework like React and Vue, or
Good, so it's not from zero, which I'm not.
if they are just coming from vanilla Java. You just need to have HTML, CSS, and JavaScript knowledge, and you are going to be good to go. And even
TypeScript.
for experienced developers, I think this might be useful because you might find out about new stuff that is coming to Angular, the new APIs, the Signals API, the inject function, the standalone components, and
Mm-hmm.
the control flow changes. So there are lots of things that have been introduced recently, and this might be a good course to get up to speed.
Since he says it is introduced recently, 2 months. Yeah, okay.
We'll start by installing Angular because if you're starting Angular for the first time, this might be a chapter as well. So first of all, we
Mm,
need to do an initializable roundabout
we did
of
that part, so it's
our
okay.
component, and every component now in Angular, whether small or big, has three different parts to it. The first part is the template, which is basically the HTML part of an Angular component. It
Yeah,
is
and the
the
style is the
style
CSS
that
part,
is
yes.
going to write normal HTML. Then we have a style section, right? So this style section is, you can also keep it like this, and you can define any class names here which you want to use in your component here, and each component can have its own set of styles which are only related to that component. Then the third part is
Mm-hmm.
the actual class of the component.
And the imports is whatever you're using in that class, and the selector is the name of the tag that you can use your component for.
Which will contain our types to it. Alright, so these are the three parts that are defined for an Angular component. You might not need the styles, but you will definitely need a template and the code for each one. Now in the scratch code,
Okay.
I have kept this as an inline style, and you can see the styles are defined inside the component decorator here, and the template as well, inline template, which is defined inside of the component decorator here itself. But some developers also follow the practice that the template is basically a separate HTML file and the styles are a separate
Yeah.
CSS file. So it's
URL.
all a personal preference, but my personal preference is this, so I'm going to follow this pattern throughout this application.
I mean, it depends how big your project is. If your project is too big, it's probably to have a separate HTML.
Okay, so we know the components in the basic building blocks of how do you create a component. Alright, so let's start by creating a simple component which we will need for our e-commerce application, which was a headers component. The best way to create a component in Angular is to use the Angular CLI for this purpose, because a component
It's very
has
convenient,
a CLI
yes.
method, so it automatically generates it for you, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to do ng generate component. Now this command generates a component at a specific path with a specific name.
That you specify,
You
yes.
can see what is components folder, and the name it in our main application and show it on the screen. So as I said before, that the app component is the root level component or the top level component. Everything else is going to be contained within that app. So we want to use the header component that we created in this app component. To do that, what we need to do is first we need to import it here, components header, and we're going to give the header component, and then we need to also add it to the components imports array here like this,
Mm-hmm.
and then we need to use this inside of our template so that we can show it. Okay, we're going to remove the router operator which comes by default, we don't actually need it here. So
Okay.
all we're going to do is that we're just going to do app header like this. Now why did we do app header here? Because
It's the app component. And we want to insert the header to the app component.
if you go in your header component, you can see that there is a property called selector. Now when we need to use our Angular components,
Mm,
for Angular components you
I
can
think I will skip that one.
so I only mentioned the styling part and adding any class names just to show how styling and translation works. But in actuality, in this application, I am going to exclusively use the Tailwind CSS
Uh-huh.
for styling my application. Now, what is Tailwind? Tailwind CSS is basically
An inline styling for HTML. So you write your CSS properties that changes the colors and everything as a property for your HTML tag.
a Utility First CSS framework, which allows us to use utility
Forget about that one.
to create a part component or let's go back to our code, and you can see that we have the header here. How do we create a new component? Well, I'm going to create a new terminal here. So that
You call it a header.
and in our components folder that we had, we're going to create a component button called primary button, right? Now primary button is a main button, so it is going to be a button which is prominent, which has a specific look and feel. Now once we press enter here, it's going to create this button in our components, and then we can simply import this component by using app primary button here. You can see that as soon as I press enter here, it automatically imported this. This really speeds up your workflow, and also you can see that it also added it to the import schema, right? And when we save this, you can see that it doesn't appear that nicely, so we're just going to style it up a bit. We're going to convert this into a flex.
Text,
So
yeah.
let me justify
Center.
so that we can
Okay, or between.
let's save this, and now you can see that the location is fine. Now let's go in our primary button and let's add our specific styles to it. So this is going to be a button component in HTML because we want to keep
Okay, so now we will probably have to change from Angular to CSS because I completely forgot about all the CS styling.
right? And when we save,
CSS. Because CSS has a lot, but you end up not using all of them actually. And then we have Tailwind CSS. Oh, since we are on the topic of CSS, CSS cheat sheet, Flexbox. Now, which website was it again? It was this one. The one that teaches you about all the flex. So we have flex row, inline flex. Anyway, should probably change the titles now from now on YouTube from Angular to CSS.
Every day I wake up in the morning and nothing gets me more excited than changing the same pixel values 20
Dot air conditional margin left. Okay.
times in a row make me feel like I'm doing a huge valuable service to mankind.
World's best CSS developer. Yeah, true.
Since you guys are CSS experts according to my community,
I hate CSS.
I want to fulfill your lifelong ambition of becoming a CSS host. In this CSS layout guide, it's not about explaining every possible CSS property and value.
It's explaining the main one.
That will tell you how to do that. However, I want to mention how you should approach and think in CSS so that your CSS isn't chaos like our social abilities as now this works
Sure.
with any kind of CSS library, post processors, or components, or anything you can think of, because it's more about the approach. Now there's some rare articles that will explain what I'm talking about, but I want to cover that in the video and go further on how you
Because yes, understanding how to make components and how each website is consisted of other components, you need to understand more about CSS.
So when you are given a design that you need to implement with CSS, the very first thing you should be doing is visualizing everything in terms of boxes.
CSS, wait, it's all boxes. Yeah.
To start with, we want to talk about the CSS box model. So the CSS box model represents all the layers a single
So content is so the way to actually imagine this is a bit easier than what most people like to make it. So let me make something here. So let's say you're typing something, text, best handwriting ever, I know. Each time you write something like that in the website, it's not considered just a plain text. So this is considered a plain text, yes, and there is space around it that's called margin, and then there is a line outside here that's called border, I think, and the space between that line and the margin is called padding. Now let's see how correct I was. Is okay, no, margin is actually the one outside, never mind. So we delete all of this and we rewrite it again. So we have the text, then you have this one is the border, and this space is the margin, and this space is the padding. Yes, padding is the one inside, border is that exact line here, and margin is this. So let's say there is another element here, this is its border, and that space between is called the margin, and it also has some padding inside.
box. So we include content, padding, border, and margin. And by default, CSS sets everything to be content box, which only includes content. So that represents one element.
Mm-hmm.
Set it to border box, you include the padding and the border. So once you
Okay, so everything by default is only content without the border and the margin, but just the padding though.
sets everything to be content box, which only includes content. So that represents one element. Then you set it to border box, you include the padding and the border. So once you
You include the padding and the border. What about the margin though? My uncle ChatGPT. Thank you for coming, dear. I am still looking for a nickname though, so we will have to use that one. So what are the default attributes in CSS box model? Default width. He's talking about the width. No, that's a bit out of scope of what I'm trying to say. Say for example we have a text that's content center by default. What will be the attributes of it? It attributes depend how it's centered. There are different ways text can be centered. Content box, that's the word that I'm searching for. Okay, also forget about that part. How about content center? If an element is content center by default, the default attributes depend on how the centering is adjusted. Okay.
to understand the box model, now we can split our layout into different blocks. And we want to be able to visualize every element on the page as a block.
I'm still not sure about the default settings though. What are the default settings of CSS content? For example, a simple text. The default setting, when you add the plain text inside HTML tag, for example the p, the div, and h1, the browser applies the default CSS styles, which are by default text inherit styles based on the element type. P1, H1 to H6, span, div, and A. Default setting, we have block width auto, block width auto, span 1 is inline, div is block element. So we have how many attributes? We have block and inline. Will be full width, while the span will only be as wide as the text. Browser also apply font family times New Roman, font size 16, color black, font width normal, text alignment left, line width normal. Okay, forget about that part then. For margin and padding, yes, that's the part I'm talking about. P, it has a margin of 16 Okay, everyone have 0 padding,
So once you understand,
but the margin is not. Okay, that's ChatGPT that we had from before. Let's just get rid of everything here. So the default padding is always 0, so you don't have to worry about the space inside the content itself. But the margin is no. It depends on the tag. Okay. The default box model content box. By default, all elements follow the box model, box sizing context box, meaning width and height apply only to the content, not padding or borders. Okay. Okay, let's just bring this here, yes. We have CSS, box model, sizing and content. Okay, no, I lost. Why is this one here? So we have depth width, the actual size will be 200 and then plus 10, left padding plus 10. Okay, the last part was probably the most important part, that we have 0 padding always, but the margin depends, and the margin is the space between elements, while the padding is between the element itself and its box. Okay.
box model, now we can split our layout into different blocks. And we want to be able to visualize every element on the page as a block. As you can see here, we start from the outside and then we go inside. We always start from the top and
We start from the outside.
outside and then we go inside. We always start from the top and we go horizontal. We don't
Like this. Okay.
go vertically because divs naturally stack on top of each other. So we want to make sure we start horizontally, splitting the elements into different blocks. Now, for example, if we take the YouTube landing page, we can toggle this Chrome extension, which will allow us to see all the landing page. We can toggle
What does this extension call again?
now, for example, if we take
Pesticides. Okay. Chrome extensions. Okay, that's the website probably. And the name of the extension is pesticide. Not pistachio, but pesticide. Nope. How just I write the first part? Nope, nope, nope. It's not here anywhere. How about if I search about the just CSS box? Let's view CSS. That's CSS selector. Nope. Boxes. Not that. CSS generator. Can be handy actually. CSS can copy CSS. I can't seem to find that extension. Does he have the link for it? Nope.
YouTube landing page.
I want that extension.
Now, for example, if we take the YouTube landing page, we can toggle this Chrome extension, which will allow us to see all the elements on this page.
So everything is a box. So you have a box here. We have this repeated box everywhere.
Has different boxes. So if you hover over this, we see the nav bar. We have another box over here, and here, as well as each of the videos are a box in itself. Now you can imagine if you're using a framework,
Yeah, I can see that.
with some of the layouts. Some of the most important things to understand is that everything has a parent-child relationship. So every element here has both a parent and a child. And that parent-child relationship will be very key to understanding how
So for example, let's say the entire page is the parent, then the nav bar is the child, and this navigation bar is also the child,
Flexbox
which can also have another child
and grid
within it.
for a lot of our layouts. Now visualizing our layouts via blocks really helps set the foundation and the structure of our entire CSS code. And that helps us utilize a very important tool that we know as Flexbox. Now, we have several tools for positioning things on the website, but the number one tool you should always reach for is going to be Flexbox. There's another tool called Float that you can use for positioning,
Oh,
but it is the outdated way of positioning, and you should only use it if you like something. Now, when it comes to Flexbox versus absolute positioning, a lot of people tend to
it's not mobile friendly, that's the difference.
positioning as their default method, which I believe is a basic mistake. And there are a few reasons why. First off, it's harder on the responsive design. For example, if you have
Yeah.
something that's centered 150 pixels from the right side of the screen, it's going to be in a very drastically different position for a screen of 3000 pixels versus a mobile screen which is 300 pixels, where 150 pixels from the right would be in the center. And on top of that, that leads to you designing in a specific pixel perfect manner, which
Oof.
is not ideal. Now there's a bigger reason
Not
why
possible
you
even.
should always use Flexbox versus absolute positioning, and that's because Flexbox does not disturb the flow of the layout. What that means is that if you take a look at this layout and you look at this nav bar, every item is in relation to each other. For example, this item is related to this because they're on the same line and they're kind of positioned to the right. However, if you take a look at this,
Yeah, I think that's where Flexbox come into place. If you remove a single one of them, they will stick together again.
this
So
is
you,
an
you
idea.
don't have to redo it every time.
Icon and you remove it, what happens is none of these other items move, which is not ideal. Sometimes you do not want this big of a space between these two items. And let's actually also take out this profile. And now we just have a big gap between these items.
Yeah, that's the bad thing about absolute positioning. No one uses it. And that's why you don't even use flat numbers in positioning, you use a percentage.
Us to position this and move this over here, which is quite a hassle. In contrast, let's look at Flexbox. We have these items again, and let's see what happens when we take out the settings. You can see that this has been moved over along with this. And then let's actually take out the profile. And again, as you can see, it's been moved, lined up over here, so it's very easy to have it set up in the way that we would like. Our lives are way easier because we are following the flow of the layout. They have a relationship where the other positions of each item is. So even in the search bar, this is positioned to the right of this, along with the search, which is on the left side. So there's always this flow dynamic with a lot of items on the page. But for whatever reason, having Flexbox is way easier to maintain. If you've ever tried to fix up a code base where everything's absolutely positioned, you'll start to realize this becomes a nightmare to maintain because you have to constantly calculate pixels and place things in different.
That's why I need to also know a bit of design to be able to do dumb stuff. I don't like styling because of that.
Ideal tool when it comes to most applications and most websites. Now, Flexbox has a lot of properties going on with it, but there's also only a few properties that you really need to know. And it's very important to understand that parent-child relationship I mentioned before, because you're going to use different properties on the parent element of all the children in Flexbox.
Yes, actually that.
Relationships I mentioned before, because you're going to use different properties on the parent element.
Yeah, because if you did some properties on the parent, they will be inherited by the children, so it's not good.
So the parent attributes are going to have all of these properties you see here, but the ones that we concern ourselves with
It's align and display.
display, just
The display flex, just to have them have the attribute flex, which he will go into I think later. Justify content, it has a lot.
content and align items.
I should probably make some notes about CSS also. CSS, my nemesis. So actually let me make this a bit big, bold even, and that's for number one here. We have display flex. I think they don't use semicolon. I have too many stuff open. I think I'll stop Angular for now and focus on also no more to-do list. We have display flex, and inside display flex we have what? Justify content.
These three properties are the only properties that you really need. No.
And align items. Okay. Align items.
And even with justify content and align items, there's only a few properties of each.
Yeah, it's either center or space in between. So we also write here center, space in between. We will do the same thing also here, center and space in between. They are probably just the most common ones I've seen so far.
When you're using Flexbox, it is very handy to have a cheat sheet at your disposal. You can utilize
Okay, now how to see them work in action. So we have where. So display has either ordering the orientation, which we will not use right now. We have flexibility, and then we have justify content. Justify content is the one we're using. We have flex start, that's the one that it starts with. Then we have center, which will make it center, or space in between, which will make them, how can I say it, just spread out through the entire box that we did. We have space around, which is the opposite. It will give them a bit of a margin at the end of the box. Spaced evenly, we'll calculate the space between each one of them. And flex end, yeah, it's the opposite of flex start. Okay, these are all the properties actually. There's nothing more.
is to see and visualize what these properties are doing. And justify content is going to be the most commonly used Flexbox parent property that we'll be working with. And justify content
He did specify it's for the parent, yes.
aligns the items or the children in accordance with the direction, or whichever direction is the default. So we have flex start, flex end, center, space between, and then space around. So the space between, space around, and center are the most common, and then occasionally you'll use flex start, flex end.
Okay.
The second most commonly used alignment is going to be align content.
Now we also have align content. Start and end are always the opposite. Then you have center. You have space between. Okay, align content property. Align flex containers, lines within the flex container. I'm still not familiar with it.
Which is pretty much the same thing as justify content, but it's going to align things vertically. So we have flex start, flex end.
Okay, so that's the difference. So instead of aligning that way, we're aligning them that way. So the space in between here is the space with them aligning that way. Space around. Is it helpful? I mean, if you're doing something like this navigation right here, you'll probably do align content, but if you're doing the nav bar that's here, you will probably use justify content.
Center, space between, and space around. The most commonly one you're going to be using is going to be center.
Again, center, space between, space around.
One horizontal line. So even in a basic example, you can see that this.
So let's see this one. This one is probably spaced in between. No, we actually have two. So let's say the header in itself is the main component, it has two separate components, this one here and these ones. Between them it's space around, and also I think between these two also space. Was it space between? I need to check again. You have space between, yes. So the header has a space between these two, but the thing is about space between, it leaves no, it doesn't. The one that leaves a space around. Okay, so both of them will be space between.
Is flex right here, and then we're using space between for this particular div, spacing everything out. And then same thing over here.
With this div also, yeah.
And then these are the child with these navigation items, and these are doing space between. Note that up here we're also vertically aligning them, so we're using align content center. So this is one of the most common ways you can use flex.
Actually, he did use align content here.
And then you can see that this is flex right here.
Mm-hmm.
We're using space between for this particular div, spacing everything out.
Okay.
Same thing over here. This is another parent, and then these are the child with these navigation items, and these are doing space between.
Mm-hmm.
That up here, we're also vertically aligning them, so we're using align content.
We are using align content. Do we? I cannot see it.
So this
And it's center. So he's using this one, this one. Yeah, I mean, if you consider the header, it's right here and it's in the middle of the header. So yes.
one of the most common ways you can use flex to set up your layouts. And now there's another property you can use flex wrap, but I'm going to show you ways so that you don't ever need to use flex wrap. Now when it comes to the child properties of Flexbox, there's only a few properties that you really have to know, and you're only going to use it occasionally. So flex grow, for example, is if you set this to be 0, it's going to take up the amount of space that you would normally expect it to, but if you click on 1, it's going to grow as much as possible if there's extra space in this element.
Ooh, never heard of flex grow before.
It's very complex on what flex spaces does over width, but it's basically the same thing as width with a few additional properties, and that interacts better with Flexbox. Now I'm going to leave the link in the description if you want to go in depth about flex spaces, but you should always use flex spaces over width when you're using Flexbox. So flex is good for situations like this where there's one dimension, meaning it's either horizontal
Or vertical. Yeah.
but if you have a section where it's kind of like this, where there is both horizontal and vertical elements, then grid is the better option. Now, even in a simple situation
Okay, so you have the grid style and then you have the flex style.
like this, where we just have a listed item displayed in a gallery-like format, grid is still very easy to implement, and we can just do this in 3 lines of code. However, if you're trying to use flex, there's actually a problem with using flex in this case. We tend to have no problems with the first line, but the second line where we have not 3 items, we have 2 items.
Unless you make them also a div, which will also be a pain in the ass to do. So you, wow, what are the use cases for flex and when do you use grid?
Becomes a problem, and we cannot fix this without some hacky workaround. So let's take a look at another example. So we have a pretty simple layout. This is a common max
Okay, this one is probably a grid also.
type layout, and over here we have the code that represents this type of grid. And now if you take a look with the flex,
Yeah, it is a flex, okay.
you're going to have to set this flex into 2 separate sections, and then over here this would be the entire width, and this would be half of that width. Compare
Mm,
that with grid. This will produce the exact same result right here. It's just the code will now be much cleaner. Now grid is very
so it is possible to use flex and grid for each situation, just which one is easier.
scary at first because there's so many different options and there's so many different ways to go about using grid. I want to show you a very simple step-by-step guide on how to approach grid. And there's not a lot of things you actually have to know. So the first step in understanding grid is that you want to split it into the smallest dividable unit or columns. So we take a look at this example, this particular section where we have this huge grid and we have different bearings.
Okay, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 1, 2, and then 1, 3.
Sizes of boxes. We can take a look at this first row. So we can try and split this into 1 unit, 2 unit, 3 unit, or boxes,
Mm-hmm.
we could say there's 4 columns in this particular grid. But the problem is, if we take a look at this bottom box, this is
Just
not
three.
going to fit neatly into those particular 4 columns because this kind of overlaps. If you take a look right here, this finishes 3/4 of the way of this particular box. So it
Yes,
doesn't
exactly.
neatly fit into that unit. So what we can do instead is going to divide this into smaller amount of units, and we can say this will be 3 units. So each of these boxes will be 3 units. So that would be a total of 12 columns across. And then
Okay, you calculate them by the columns.
so what we can do instead is going to divide this into smaller amount of units, and we can say this will be 3 units. So each of these boxes will be 3 units.
Mm-hmm.
So that will be a total of 12 columns across. And then we
Okay.
can say this bottom one is now going to be 4 columns. And if we click on this,
Okay, this one is 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and 1, 2, 3. Then once you go to the one under here, 1, 2, 3, 4. Then 1, 2, 3, 4. Then 1, 2, 3, 4. Actually, this one is a bit longer. This one is 1, 2, 3, 4. No, actually, I calculated mistakenly. So we have 4 here, then 4 here, and also 4. Okay.
now see that this first box represents 3 columns and this bottom box represents 4 columns. So that will now work out with this particular grid. And then we can also check the middle one, and this will be
So for too many elements, you use grid, but for vertical, not that much element, you use what? Use flex.
18 units across. And now we can also take a look at the rows. So if we take a look, we're going to have 5 units of rows vertically. So the first row is going to just be 1 unit, but then the second row is going to be 2 units, and the last one is also going to be 2 units.
Okay.
Take a look at the rows. So if we take a look, we're going to have
So how many rows we have? 1, 2, 3, 4. And this one took 1 row, this one took 2, this one took 2.
5 units of rows vertically. So the first row is going to just be 1 unit, but then the second row is going to be 2 units, and the last one is also going to be 2 units. So that means what we have set up for our grid is that we
The grid is 5 by 12, yes.
now have 12 columns of units and then 5 rows of units. And that is what we're going to be using to set up our grid. And then from there, depending on the level of complexity of the design, we are going to use different methods for grids in 3 different to go through and walk through each type. Now going back to our admin dashboard, I would consider this a medium level of complexity when we use grid. And the way I determine that is most of the items, there's some consistency in the box sizings, but
Mhm.
there are some differences. So we are going to
You have 3 measures, yeah.
identify each item, and we're going to give each item their own level of units. So the way we start is setting the parent to be display of grid, and then we can use grid template column. So this is going to be the most commonly used property that we'll end up using. And you're going to need to get familiar with the repeat function inside here. And all this means is that we're setting up this to be 12 columns like we mentioned before. And we are going to set each column with the size of 1 fractional unit. Now you can set this to be pixels, and you can change this up depending on what you want.
Mhm.
Here, this is pretty simple, so that means we're just dividing based on the number of
Yeah, okay. So grid template columns, and then you repeat, and then you say how many columns you want.
units that this row has. So it is 1 fractional unit or 12 different columns. So this is basically the width of each column, and this is the total number of columns. And then for the rows, we have grid auto rows. So that means each row, in this case, I'm not using templates because
Mhm.
we don't use units. We're actually setting this to be 150 pixels. So that means this particular row is 150, and since this is
That's 300, yes.
300.
So I didn't need to use also grid template rows because he already set the rows here to be 1 fraction.
For this particular box. And we also set a gap of 20 pixels. That just means 20 pixels spacing in between. And then from here, it's pretty simple. So we can now set
actually again. The first box, grid column, and equal it span 3.
So we can now set the first box. It's going to be a span of 3. We don't need to set grid row to be span of 1 because that's what it is by default.
Okay.
If we take a look, if we go down and we go to row 2, we now have a grid column of span of 8, which represents this particular guy. And then we set a span of 2 for the rows. And then this, as you can guess, is going to be
What does span mean in this context? In the grid CSS layout, what does span mean? How many grid columns or row? Okay, so he's basically saying we wanted to take 3 columns.
So if we take a look and we go down, it's going to be a span.
So he made this box take 3, 1 and then 2, and the third one is the space between.
We don't need to set grid row to be span of 1 because that's what it is by default. But if we take a look and we go down and we go to row 2, we now have a grid column of span of 8, which represents this particular guy. And then we set a span of 2 for the rows. And then this, as you can guess, is going to be a span of 4.
I mean, this one is 1 and this one is 2 and this one is 2, so that's the 5 that we set. And if this one is 4, 4 times 4, okay.
Now you can see that this is going to be grid column span of 3 for a span of 2 rows. And as you can see, this is pretty simple. Once you have the layout for each column and the number of rows, you can easily set the specified spans to be what you want exactly. It just takes a little bit of effort dividing the number of columns and the number of rows once you have them.
I need to have a free design and then I try to implement Figma free web design template so that I can actually try to do the exact same website, since I don't think I have enough time to make an entire website from my brain. Let's check this one then. Okay. How about we open it with Figma, continue with Google. So I did try a bit of design before, and that's how I came to hate it. So I think of isolating it, at least for now, from the front end part. We'll go to the files, because I need the spacing, I need to see the grid. Just call it the same name. Student, let's say for now, other, skip, just other, okay, so finally, so this is the project. It has 3 components. Okay, we have the button, we have the heading, we have the label, and I want to see the properties of each one. So okay, let's check again. So this is the label. Button primary. So where are the properties here for the primary? Oh, it's been a while since I used Figma, so Probably will take a while for me to see insert instance. Okay, so that's the label. The typography, so I have the color white. What's this color? It's dark, but what type of dark? Okay, now I can see it. Maybe I should try to do this one. What about this one? Okay, that's the logo. So we have the logo here. We have the label. And the quest quota. I think all of them, they have the same type of typography. So let's check which type they are using. So we got the color. Not sure how we will do the box here, but we will check on that.
That you have very good control.
Yeah, I forgot. The main thing that we were searching about is how the grid here works. For positioning, I think you only have here as a flex. This one, I'm not sure. You should have the picture for that one. He is only given 4 components. I'm not sure about the other materials though. The only reason I'm searching for a template is so that I can get the material to try and use them. Okay. Failed idea. We will not save. Figma free web design template material. Okay, that's Bootstrap, that's something else. It's not working here. Web template, forget about the design part even. Actually that's the one he's using, so it will be a good practice. So that's the website here. I just hope we get the colors. The colors I can actually pick, it will not be that difficult. But the icons here and everything else. Okay, maybe we download it for now. Seems to be a heavy download. Okay, I'll just put it in the desktop. So if we extract it here, I'll give it some time. But we should actually be able to implement the principles that he's talking about here. I should probably also change my plan to start studying more about CSS than actually Angular, because for me to understand the component concept, the components concept. So we have the PNG here. Don't save that one and don't save that one. So that's the website. Okay. Lead me to it's responsive. Okay. Is the template okay? He gave us with the code, but I just want the assets. Yeah, we have here the fonts that he used, the JavaScript even. How about the images? Okay, that's the dashboard. Did he use all of that? I'm not sure. Okay, let's open again. Probably one of those websites that make a video explaining how they created that website. plugin, jQuery, awesome, bootstrap. I want the live view again of that website. So we have a grid here, which is the smallest component here is this one, which is 1, 2, 3, 4. I need an extension that can help me see the grids. But anyway, this is probably the home page, and then you have this as a div with this one, and then you have this one as a grid.
how much space each element is going to take. Now, before we were doing admin, that had a very consistent level of boxes, so there was a little bit of symmetry and consistency with that layout. But this one right here, we have
Oof.
boxes that span different vertical elements, and I would consider that a situation where this becomes an advanced complexity for grid, and that's where we are going to use grid template areas. And grid template areas gives us maximum full control, and it also allows us to
Yeah, it's too advanced for me.
code very easily. So the way we do this is we're going to set our columns and the rows as usual. Most importantly, we are setting grid template areas. So the way this works is that instead of giving each box or element inside the grid a specific length and height, we are instead specifying kind of like a mini map or diagram of sorts to identify where things go in the grid. So for example, these are consistent. That represents this particular box over here. So A represents this particular element, B represents this one, and then C represents this one. So C is 3.
Okay, so you can't visualize it and then write it with symbols. Okay, interesting.
D over here, and this would be 3 units vertically, E would be 2 units vertically, and then F would be 3 units vertically. But this one would overlap on the 4th row. And we can continue doing the same with GGG, and then HHH would be 4 units vertically.
It's actually better than using the other option, but I can see why it's called more complex.
That allows us to control these elements. And the way we identify each box is we're going to call this grid area. So now all we have to do is we can go to our particular box and go down and specify, this is a very custom component that I've created, but this is grid area A. That represents this particular section. And then grid area B represents this, and C represents that. So now we don't actually have to worry about the order of the elements when we place into the components.
How would you even implement all of this with Angular? Because it seems like he's saying it from the point that you're not using a framework. I cannot see how you use that with a framework.
Semantic as much as possible, and then we want to give it some styles. But before we add this, okay, so next we want to create a card component or a card button.
So it's the header. The header is no issue. You would use Flex with it.
This will be our primary buttons which we're going to be using other places as well. So we want to make it reusable, and we want to add inputs and outputs to this button so that we can keep it wherever we want to, and we can just give the input and get the output back. So this will be a good way to learn about reusable components. Okay, so let's go back
Okay.
to the code, and you can see that we have the header here. How do we create it?
So he created the header and then he made it from div. I'm not sure if div is the best way to say it, because it's better when you use nav for SEO purposes.
New component where I'm going to create a new terminal here so that I can use the Angular CLI to do so just like before. And let's do ng generate component, and in our components folder that we had, we're going to create a component button called primary button, right? The primary button is a main button, so it is going to be a button which is prominent, which has a specific look and feel.
Most headers will have my store replaced with the logo, and then on the other part will be the call to action, which is like the sign in or the sign out or any of that stuff.
Structure here is going to create this button in our components, and then we can simply import this component by using app primary button here. You can see that as soon as I pressed enter here, it automatically imported this, so this really speeds up the workflow, and also you can see that it also added it to the imports field, right? this, you can see that it doesn't appear that nicely, so we're just going to style it up a bit. So we're going to convert this into a flex, and we're going to do justify between, so that we can have a space between them. Let's save this, and now you can see that the location is fine. Now let's go in our primary button and let's add our specific styles to it. So this is going to be a button component in HTML, because we want to keep it semantic as much as possible.
You wrote.
Now split this into a that it does also added in the imported bit.
He made it an app and then he gave it the name there.
Speeds up your workflow.
Okay.
And also, you can see that it also added user imports, right? And when we save this, you can see that it doesn't appear that nicely, so we're just going to style it up a bit. So we're going to
Okay. Instead of using the CSS, he just used the Tailwind CSS, and he in the same line wrote the flex.
do a flex, and we're going to do this.
So yes, background is for PGs, silhouette, I'm not sure what that is, 100, and then pixel 4, and then PY3, then he made a shadow, and that's all for the header. Okay.
So that we can have a space between them. Let's save this, and now you can see that the location is fine. Now let's go in our primary button and let's add our specific styles to it. So this is going to be a button component in HTML, because we want to keep it semantic as much as possible, and then we want to give it some styles. But before we add the styles, I want to also add the inputs in our displays. So what
I'm not sure if everyone will be using that same style. Tailwind, probably people don't use it because it's actually a new technology,
name of the button here,
and you need to remember the syntax for it, which is a bit different than CSS. Even my friend who's working right now, he said to me, no, they don't use Tailwind, they just use normal CSS.
caption of the button. Now we want to keep it configurable, because we want to use this in different places of the application. So in order to do that, we can use the concept of inputs of a button. Okay. Now the newest way to declare inputs for an Angular component is to use signal remotes, right? So what we're going to do is that we're going to do label is equals to input, and this input you can see that is imported from Angular core. So we're going to click on this, and then we are going to specify just an empty string. This empty string is going to tell us that okay, the type of this is a string, right?
Okay.
And then within this button here, we can actually use string interpolation again and use the label signal. Okay. Now since this is a signal, we can be rest assured that whenever this changes, it's going to show up wherever we are listening for that signal style. Okay. But what if a user clicks on the button? How do we want to handle that? What are we going to tell Angular to avoid? So Angular basically provides
So the signal created the event.
sort of wrappers around the basic HTML event listeners, you can say. So for example, on click becomes click here with a normal bracket here, and we can then give an event handler, a function here. Okay, so let's give it a function here initially. Let's see handle button click here, and let's give this.
Okay, now that's a bit too much. I think I'll stop here today. I think I've known enough about CSS, but I'll still save that part because I need to watch it later then, because information just takes a bit of time for me to put it in my head. CSS design, I think we did a bit of it. Element versus selector wasn't that difficult. Creating the navbar, we'll be doing that actually tomorrow. But what else will I be doing here? We should be creating our first component, our first header here. Thing about Angular is I don't know much about it to be able to judge which part I should be doing tomorrow. So the part that I should start doing is probably just this one. Creating the navbar for a website, which will mean I'll have to probably do another website, another project, and work with it out of this project. Okay, for this one the project should be an e-commerce type of website. it will be easier to handle that way, and it will be a better way instead of doing the Angular immediately for the project that I'm currently doing right now. Okay, that's a very interesting video. I'll watch it later also, or I'll actually watch it right now while playing. And I also want to save that. Let me get this one here. So yeah, I think I'll be doing a new project that's specifically to train myself about these things, the CSS part, and the project one I still haven't figured out the design part for it, so I should not train them as something that's complementing each other for now, because my skill level on both of them is a bit different. Yeah, thank you. But now the coding part is finished, and now I can finally start playing, because my brain is about to explode. But before of that, I think I have to end the stream on YouTube first.